ਚੈਨਲ ਪੰਜਾਬੀ ਵੇਖਦੇ ਵੀਅਰਸ ਦਾ ਸਵਾਗਤ ਹੈ ਅੱਜ ਦੇ ਫਰੰਟਲਾਈਨ ਪ੍ਰੋਗਰਾਮ ਵਿੱਚ। ਮੈਂ ਤੁਹਾਡੀ ਆਪਣੀ ਸੁਖੀ ਅੱਜ ਖੁਸ਼ਖਬਰੀ ਖਾਸ ਕਰਕੇ ਟੋਰਾਂਟੋ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਨਿਵਾਸੀ ਰਹਿੰਦੇ ਆ ਇੱਕ ਬਹੁਤ ਵੱਡੀ ਰੀਅਲ ਏਸਟੇਟ ਪ੍ਰੋਜੈਕਟ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਕੋਲ ਆ ਰਹੀ ਆ ਗ੍ਰੈਂਡ ਫੈਸਟੀਵਲ ਟਾਵਰਸ ਡਾਊਨਟਾਊਨ ਵਾਨ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਅਤੇ ਉਹਦੇ ਸੰਬੰਧੀ ਇਨਫੋਰਮੇਸ਼ਨ ਅੱਜ ਲੈ ਕੇ ਦੋ ਪ੍ਰੋਫੈਸ਼ਨਲ ਸਾਡੇ ਨਾਲ ਜੁੜੇ ਹੋਏ ਆ ਜੋ ਕਿ ਲਾਈਵ ਇਸ ਵੇਲੇ ਸਾਡੇ ਨਾਲ ਟੋਰਾਂਟੋ ਤੋਂ ਹੈਗੇ ਆ। ਸੋ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਕੋਲ ਥੋੜ੍ਹੀ ਜਿਹੀ ਇਨਫੋਰਮੇਸ਼ਨ ਲੈਂਦੇ ਆ ਕਿ ਵੀ ਹੈਵ ਅ ਲੋਟ ਆਫ ਬਰਨਿੰਗ ਕੁਐਸਚਨਸ ਰਿਗਾਰਡਿੰਗ ਰੀਅਲ ਏਸਟੇਟ ਇਨ 2021 ਖਾਸ ਕਰਕੇ ਪੈਂਡੈਮਿਕ ਦਾ ਕਰਕੇ ਲੋਟ ਆਫ ਪੀਪਲ ਹੈਡ ਪੁੱਟ ਆਫ ਬਾਇੰਗ ਰੀਅਲ ਏਸਟੇਟ because they were uncertain about the market. So ਇਹਨਾਂ ਕੋਲ ਆਪਾਂ ਥੋੜ੍ਹੀ ਜਿਹੀ ਜਾਣਕਾਰੀ ਲੈਂਦੇ ਆ। ਸੋ ਪਹਿਲੀ ਗੱਲ ਮੈਂ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਇਹ ਪ੍ਰੋਜੈਕਟ ਬਾਰੇ ਦੱਸਦੀ ਹਾਂ। ਸੋ we're introducing the next phase of the master plan community south of EMC, the Grand Festival. So Grand Festival na in towers da centrally located in the emerging vibrant new downtown Vaughan, surrounded by modern office towers, immersive retail shopping and expansive green spaces built by Menkes Developments. So coffee ਇੱਥੇ shopping amenities ਇੱਥੇ ਬਹੁਤ ਆ brand new ਹੋਣੀ ਆ ਇਹਦੀ completion ਕਦੋਂ ਹੋਣੀ ਆ pricing ਕੀ ਆ open houses ਕਦੋਂ ਆ ਸਾਰੀ ਇਹਦੀ ਜਾਣਕਾਰੀ ਲੈ ਕੇ ਅੱਜ ਸਾਡੇ ਨਾਲ ਜੁੜੇ ਹੋਏ ਆ ਸੰਦੀਪ ਦਿਵੇਦੀ broker of record real biz realty incorporated and ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਹੈਗੇ ਆ ਸ਼ਾਬ ਰਜਾਬਜ਼ਾਦੇ ਜੋ ਕਿ co-founder ਹੈਗੇ ਆ cornerstone marketing. So ਆਓ ਰਲ ਕੇ ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਆਪਾਂ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਦਾ ਸਵਾਗਤ ਕਰੀਏ। Sandeep and Shab, I want to welcome you to Frontline.
Thank you, Sukhi ji, and nice to see you again.
Yes,
Thank you for having me on.
Thank you both of you for joining us. Sandeep, ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਥੋੜਾ ਜਿਹਾ ਆਪਣੇ ਬਾਰੇ ਦੱਸੋ।
Sure, Sukhi ji, जैसे आपने बताया कि सबसे पहले तो आपके सारे लिसनर्स को नमस्कार और दर्शकों को नमस्कार, आदाब और सत श्री अकाल। और मैं ये बताना चाहूँगा कि मैं रियल स्टेट में ऑलमोस्ट 15 to 20 इयर्स का मेरा एक्सपीरियंस है एंड सेल्स में तो मेरा काफ़ी ओवर 30 इयर्स का एक्सपीरियंस है। तो आज जो मैं काम कर रहा हूँ वो ये है कि हमारी खुद की ब्रोकरेज है एंड देयर इज़ अ बिग टीम वर्किंग बिहाइंड मी एंड इट्स अ सक्सेसफुल रियल स्टेट फर्म दैट वी आर रनिंग हियर इन टोरंटो। जो हमारा एक तरह से फोर्टे है या जो हमारी एक्सपर्टीज़ है वो प्री कंस्ट्रक्शन में बहुत ज़्यादा है एंड वी डू लॉट ऑफ प्री कंस्ट्रक्शन प्रोजेक्ट्स इन टोरंटो इन द GTA एरिया. So that is about myself. I won a lot of awards and achievements which we could talk another time, but right now we are all geared up to talk about the Grand Festival Tower. And you know, with me I have a pleasure to introduce Shab Rajabzadeh. Shab is a co-founder of Cornerstone Marketing, and I have been knowing Shab for very long. And basically the thing is that with Shab, he's a very personable person. He works very hard and he builds relationship, and that we can see with his projects that he does. So I would like to introduce Shab, and upon my introduction, I would always like to ask him, because he is a record creator. He always breaks his records. So just to give you an example, congratulations, Shab, first of all, because Festival Tower, which we launched last fall, was a great success. You won't believe, Sukhi ji, we were able to sell 1,300 units. 1,300
wow,
units
amazing.
last fall. Yes, in the COVID times, in 3 weeks.
Wow.
That is a feat in itself.
That
and I know
is.
Shab will be, yeah, and I know Shab will be eager to break this record. So my first question to Shab is, how Shab, you and your team is able to do this repeatedly, time and time again, tirelessly.
Thank you, Sandeep, and Suki, thank you very much. It's not really myself, it's really a collaborative effort between myself, the visionaries, which are architects, landscape architects, the right developer, and the right opportunities really aligning itself to make sure that is available to the marketplace where intelligent, what I like to use the term smart money is being used by investors and agents buying up the good real estate. And we've been working in areas across the greater Toronto area in very effective areas where it's very much transportation oriented. And I think that's one of those developments that stand apart. And it really, as soon as we prepare the designs, do the planning and the strategy, really the investors really start to understand that and really the commandment should go to the actual buyers themselves for doing good investment, and they're helping bring value to the neighborhood.
So you've been involved in quite a lot of other projects as well. Give us a little breakdown of what else you've been involved in, just so the Toronto residents, I'm sure they've heard these big names out there.
Yeah, I mean, Cornerstone Market effectively takes up anywhere between 15 to 20% of the Greater Toronto Market area in terms of market share on a given year. We're the largest marketing agency in the waterfront community in downtown Toronto. A lot of our density, about 60 to 70% of our portfolio is downtown based, very much centrally located. Of some of our portfolio over the last few years has been going out into what we refer to as the Greater Toronto area, which falls slightly outside of downtown Toronto, but in effective remote areas whereby you can connect by major highways or subway stations. So we really follow along where transportation goes, is my strategy for my organization. It's like where subway goes, I go. Where highways go is where I go. And I think that really speaks to it, because that's effectively your tax dollars, right? I just follow the tax dollar where it's being spent by the government.
Yeah, location, I mean, it's always about location. Now, I can't help but focusing on the module behind you guys. So is this what, the Grand Festival is going to look like?
Yeah, so this is just a little bit about Grand Festival. Grand Festival just sits slightly outside of downtown Toronto at Jane and Highway 7, which is Vaughan Metropolitan Center, which is the epicenter of the GTA right now, where all the other suburban townships connect through this area.
Okay.
The model behind me is actually a context model of the 150 acres plus of what we have a vision for the neighborhood, which is effectively kind of creating down the financial district of downtown Toronto, which is the largest financial district that we have in Canada, in Vaughan right now.
Great. Okay, so let's talk, I mean, you've kind of brushed a little bit about location, right, Sandeep? ਆਪਾਂ ਜਾਣਦੇ location ਬਹੁਤ ਜ਼ਿਆਦਾ ਜ਼ਰੂਰੀ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਆ, ਖਾਸ ਕਰਕੇ, ਜਿਹੜੇ ਹੁਣ first time home builders or buyers ਹੈਗੇ ਆ। ਹੁਣ ਆਪਾਂ amenities ਦੀ ਥੋੜੀ ਜਿਹੀ ਗੱਲ ਕਰੀਏ। ਆਪਾਂ location ਦੀ ਗੱਲ ਕੀਤੀ ਆ, highways ਨੇੜੇ ਆ, ਬਹੁਤ ਜ਼ਰੂਰੀ ਆ, transportation is always, but what amenities, what's going to be exclusive to the Grand Festival Towers that you've probably never seen in any of your projects before?
Yes. So, सुखी जी, सबसे पहले मैं ये बताना चाहूँगा कि ये जो आपका डेवलपमेंट, इट्स अ बिग मास्टर प्लान कम्युनिटी, और ये मास्टर प्लान कम्युनिटी जो है, इसमें हम आपको स्कूल्स लाकर दे रहे हैं, पार्क्स आ रहे हैं यहाँ पर, ऑलमोस्ट 18 एकर्स का पार्क है, 17 किलोमीटर्स का रनिंग ट्रैक्स है। इसके अलावा यहाँ पर मैन मेड लेक होगा, जिसमें कि आप वीकेंड के ऊपर पिकनिक मना सकते हैं। यहाँ पर म्यूजिकल शोज होंगे, एम्पी थिएटर है, यहाँ पर शॉपिंग है। So basically what we are doing is creating a community. So ये बहुत बड़ी एक community बनने जा रही है, जहाँ पर हज़ारों लोग रहेंगे। इसके अलावा यहाँ पर ऑफिस टावर्स होंगे, so live and work का भी situation यहाँ पर है। And you won't believe, York University यहाँ से सिर्फ one stop away है। So subway जैसे ही आप लेते हैं, next stop is York University. It has over 100,000 students and over 7,000 faculty members. So it's a great place. The other thing I want to say here is that we are just 5 minutes away from Toronto's Wonderland, जो कि वॉन में है। इसके अलावा जो basically Canada का biggest mall, Vaughan Mills Mall, is just within 5 minutes. So this is a great central location. Airport is just 10 minutes away from here. So what I'm saying, it's a great location. Facilities जो यहाँ आ रही हैं बहुत amazing आ रही हैं. So going forward, I just want to put this question towards Shab, because he'll speak a lot about the building amenities and more about the amenities. So Shab, could you please tell us a little bit more in details about the building amenities as well as other amenities that are very, very suitable for the people who will be living here?
Absolutely, and thank you, Sandy. For the amenities, the way we look at amenities is very different than most organizations or people per se. We built the amenities from out to in, and I think Sandeep touched on some key elements of this comprehensive master plan community, whereby you have a man-made pond, you have what we refer to as a multi-use path, where it's well over 20 kilometers, where families or athletes can actually use these dedicated tracks throughout beautiful greenery, having that vegetated, having that space to breathe, and having that space from one another effectively. Right. As part of it, we also programmed just almost 20 acres of just dedicated parkland to the neighborhood. But as well as that, there's a park there's a business park as well, where there's going to be office towers coming to this neighborhood. If you actually take a look at how the neighborhood's changing and shaping, with not just those amenities that we touched on, but in the neighborhood itself has a massive business transformation. If you look at Royal Bank, KPMG, PwC, any of the largest accounting firms, law firms, Miller Thompson, are all moving to this neighborhood for employment. So it's really creating an infrastructure of amenities outside of your home. But within the building is what's very beautiful, is that we have square footage over square footage of amenities where you could get lost in, because it's such a large development that you can almost virtually think of, you're into arts, you want to have a soundproof music room, we have it. You want a personal party room, you want a bar area, you want a gaming area, you want to have any athletic sports facility, full gym facility, you will have it. But we're also most likely going to have a commercial sports gym within the building, a grocery store within the building. And all this is just a throw away from the subway station. I'll leave you on one more note, okay, Supi? The largest infrastructure that Toronto has for a subway is referred to as Union Station. The Vaughan Metropolitan Centre, the subway station that we have here, will effectively be larger now because of the amount of money government has put into this neighborhood, with all the major transportation from buses, subways, GO trains are all coming from this neighborhood right next to this development.
Wow. So it's developing quite fast from what I'm hearing here in BC. Now, you've talked a lot about the amenities, and it sounds very grand, just like the name of the towers. So it seems like it's endless. Let's talk a little bit more about I know when you hear all the bells and whistles, it's always great, but I think the biggest thing is when you hear this and you're about to make this investment, price is always that number one. Okay, this may sound expensive. How expensive is it? Can I afford it? Because it sounds like, it's ideal for the working class, even the family class with all the amenities in it, and for students as well. So what are we looking at for price points?
Just like you'll see in Vancouver and other parts of metropolitans across Canada and North America, the prices usually hinge on the core downtown, the central business district. Right. Vaughan is not too far from downtown Toronto, and has really become that epicenter of affordability today. And luckily, because we're in those initial phases of this development for this neighborhood, the prices are very much within reach, where pricing starts in the high $400,000 range, right, whereby in other parts of the city, you're really starting at $600,000 to $700,000. So effectively about a 20 to 30% minimum difference in right, price gap.
Great. So that's not bad at all. It's a great investment. What about timelines now? Sandeep, आपने पता है भी जदों ਆਪਾਂ ਕੋਈ investment करनी ਆ, timeline बहुत ਜ਼ਰੂਰੀ ਹੁੰਦੀ ਹੈ, because whether you're in a place and you're selling it and you're looking to move on fast, or whether it's an investment, timeline ਇੱਕ ਬਹੁਤ ਜ਼ਰੂਰੀ ਚੀਜ਼ ਹੁੰਦੀ ਹੈ. So ਇਹਦੇ ਬਾਰੇ ਥੋੜਾ ਜਿਹਾ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਦੱਸੋ.
जी, so Shab has touched on the pricing. सुखी जी, तो मैं बताना चाहूँगा कि प्राइस इसकी जो स्टार्ट होंगी लो 500 से स्टार्ट होंगी, जैसे शैब ने मुझे बताया है. एंड इसके अलावा जो है टाइमलाइंस, मैं ये बताना चाहूँगा सुखी जी कि 1300 families have already chosen the festival towers as their residence. So we are looking for another 1300, and there is so much talk about this project right now that people are lining up. Like my previous customers, they all want to bring their kids, their family, their friends to this neighborhood. So timeline के बारे में ये बताना चाहूँगा कि इस project का जो completion है वो 2025 में है, year 2025 में. और हमारे पास जो timeline है इस समय, I think next week हमारे पास allocations होंगे, pricing होंगे, और इसके अलावा floor plans वगैरह सारा कुछ होगा, जो कि आप हमारे साथ ओपन हाउस में आके हमारे डिस्कस कर सकते हैं, which is right across the festival towers. We are in a residence inn by Marriott, 11 Interchange Way in Vaughan. So it is just across the site. We are hosting our events. We will be there from this coming Saturday until the 4th of April. So 20th of March to 4th of April, we will be there from 12 p.m. to 6 p.m. because it's COVID time, so we are booking appointments so people can come one-on-one and we can discuss the project with them. So timeline is that we will get the floor plan, pricing and everything last week of March, and the first week or the end of March, we will start signing these units. As far as the deposit structure is concerned and other programs concerned, I think Shev will throw a better light on those because he knows a little bit better than me in that aspect. So, Shab, could you please tell us the other perks that are coming with it, what kind of deposit structure we are seeing in the project?
Yeah, absolutely. I think some of the key benefits of buying this development, having such a large scale development, is that in most cases, and why Sandeep preaches about it, is because these developers are in most cases discounted for that first 50% purchaser, because developers have to offload and sell 50% and get to their sales test to secure financing. That's really the fundamentals of pre-construction business. So that is why some buyers rush to buy into these central located projects, because ultimately developer may turn around and say, I'm no longer going to sell, I'll only sell 50 or 60%. I'll wait another 2 years and close my doors and wait. Because of COVID, I think people have been, most especially in Toronto, I can speak for us, is that people have been buying very aggressively because developers have conceded on pricing and have given more time for this deposit program or deposit structure. So for the Grand Festival, we'll be taking 20% deposit, just like every other development, new construction development, but over 3 to 4 year time frame. So really gives you a lot of time for those first time buyers or parent assisted purchasing or even seasoned investor where they want to increase their ROIs, return on investment. They're putting very little money forward, but they're breaking up the deposit over time. So it's not as it's not as difficult. There's not as much pressure on putting the money together.
Sandeep, slightly brushed on about 1,300 families have already invested into this. So how many units, how many towers are we looking at? What is readily available at this point?
The first phase that we launched last year during the peak of COVID, and to our surprise, it was very well received by the marketplace, was it's approximately 1,400 units that we moved through last year. And this year we're releasing around 1,200 units, assuming the builder decides to keep all the units and bring it to market. They may decide to only sell 600-700. We don't know. But either way, we're excited about it. But the entire development that we look after is about 30 high-rise developments here, as well as some townhomes, as well as some other options here in the neighborhood. So low-rise, mid-rise, and high-rise composition of development.
Great. And just, you did mention COVID and the pandemic, and how do you think it's affecting the overall market right now? What advice do you have to your buyers that should jump on this opportunity?
When it's tough because even myself, as just a normal person, I buy into my own developments. I drink the Kool-Aid. I like it. I've done well with it, and I know well-seasoned investors like Sandeep and his clients who've been around for so many years have gone through the several cycles. They understand when to buy, when not to buy, and when to be cautious and when to be aggressive. Again, I think COVID has brought it's scared a lot of people, and especially developers. So they discount the buildings, they discount the deposits, and those are the moments you have to have confidence, especially and only if you're financially stable. We don't want to sell, or we don't want people to buy that don't have the money or the resources to do so. So I only advocate for those that qualify. So for example, if Sandeep says, I have one buyer, we ask Sandeep, who is your buyer? We don't just take any purchaser. I'll be honest with you, Suki.
Oh, wow.
Toronto's the largest city in Canada. So we have the population depth. So we can really get to pick and choose. We're just trying to bring qualified buyers to this development so they have the right opportunity to have a stable buyer purchasing power.
Great, that's great. So there's a lot of filtering that's involved in this whole project. Sandeep and Shab, I'd like to ask you, obviously you've given us so much information about this project, but again, in the end, let's do a quick, summary. As a buyer, why should I buy into the Grand Festival Towers, and why is timing right now so important to get my foot in that door?
I'll take the first one, maybe, Sandeep. I think, again, what fundamentally makes my organization and what we do so special is that we follow our tax dollars. We follow where government is putting money forward. And because, in all fairness, government will always have more money than any individual, any company we have within our economy and society. So if the government has placed a lot of the money on a provincial level, on a city level, on a federal level into Vaughan, they have made a decision for this area to grow. We are seeing staggering growth in this neighborhood and the surrounding neighborhoods. So that is one of the key reasons, just very basic fundamental, just to buy where there's huge infrastructure and there's continuous involvement of money. That is the first key thing I would probably say is important to us.
Absolutely, Shab. So I'll speak about the next two. The other two very important factors, Sukiji, is first of all the builder. builder name, we are working with Mankey's Development. They have been in the business for over 65 years. It's almost like a $40 billion company. And Quadrell and Mankey's together, they are over $45 billion company. So we are working with safe people, safe builders, safe developers, and they have a vision. They are not building a master plan community. I call it they're building a city within a city. Now, one more thing I want to stress here is that these festival tower or the Grand Festival Tower are the iconic landmark buildings in one. So if you are owning a piece of property here, you are basically buying into like a Trump Towers or something of that nature. So it's a landmark project. It's a great place to buy in, and those are the two reasons I would say: the branding, as well as the landmark project, the location, as well as Sharp talked about the tax dollars, everything. Like those are the three biggest reasons people should buy.
So,
Yeah,
Suki,
that's
if I
even
may, I'll
older,
add.
yeah.
I'd love to add one more for you, if that's okay.
Yeah, definitely.
Quadrail, who is the partner in this development, is from BC.
Okay.
Just so you know. So they've developed in Vancouver. They have a lot of holdings there in Vancouver. But to touch on it, they're bringing Vancouver money to Toronto. I think that should say a lot.
That definitely does. That definitely does. Okay, so the excitement's built up. I know you're going to get a lot of inquiries about this. So tell us a little bit more about open houses. I know, Sandeep, you touched a little bit on it. You're going to be there, till about the end of March. But what is the best way someone can come and view these or get in contact with either one of you?
So सुखी जी, about the open house, मैं यही बताना चाहूँगा कि आप हमें कॉल करें and you can book one-on-one appointment. My number you will be flashing on the screen, but I'll say it to your viewers is 647-964-2000. Because of COVID times, we are going with the appointments. Earlier, you can just walk in and our team could take care of you. So ये जो open house होने जा रहा है, ये almost 3 weeks का रहेगा. 20th of March to 4th of April, we will be at Residence Inn by Marriott, which is just opposite to where our Festival Tower site is. And again, you can call us, book your appointment, and you can come to our presentation. You will get much more details as we get the floor plans, pricing. When you come and discuss one by one, one-on-one with us, it will be a pleasure because we can show you the site, we can drive you around the neighborhood, so you can learn more about the project.
Well, that's a great service, and I'm sure buyers will have a lot more peace of mind when they're able to see this, in person. Shab, anything you'd like to add in closing?
No, I mean, we're absolutely excited, and I'm glad we're coming out of the COVID times. I mean, we're getting the vaccines, you guys are as well. It's just being schedules rolling out, so it's bringing a lot more attention to it. We're just trying to sustain the pricing and keeping as what it is so that we can have the opportunity to investors. But I think there'll be a strong rebound and prices will stagger, especially for Toronto and where we're at right now.
Great. Sandeep and Shab, I'd like to congratulate you both on this vision, and I'm sure it's going to be a huge success. And thank you so much for joining us on this show today.
Thank you, Suki.
Thank you, Suki.
Thank you. ਉਮੀਦ ਕਰਦੇ ਹਾਂ ਅੱਜ ਦਾ ਪ੍ਰੋਗਰਾਮ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਸਾਰਿਆਂ ਨੂੰ ਪਸੰਦ ਆਇਆ ਹੋਵੇਗਾ। ਸੋ ਇਹ ਸੀਗੇ ਇੱਕ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਪ੍ਰੋਜੈਕਟ ਹੋਣ ਜਾ ਰਿਹਾ ਆ ਵਾਨ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਡਾਊਨਟਾਊਨ। ਸੋ ਇੱਕ ਡਿਵੈਲਪਿੰਗ ਸਿਟੀ ਹੈਗੀ ਆ ਟੋਰਾਂਟੋ ਡਾਊਨਟਾਊਨ ਦੇ ਕੋਲ ਐਂਡ ਵੰਡਰਲੈਂਡ ਦੇ ਕੋਲ। ਸੋ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਤੋਂ ਇਹ ਜਾਣਕਾਰੀ ਸੁਣੀ ਆ। ਸੋ ਮੇਕ ਸ਼ੋਰ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਅੱਜ ਹੀ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਨਾਲ ਸੰਪਰਕ ਕਰੋ। ਗ੍ਰੈਂਡ ਫੈਸਟੀਵਲ ਟਾਵਰਸ ਜੇ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਕੋਈ ਇਨਵੈਸਟਮੈਂਟ ਲੱਭ ਰਹੇ ਆ, ਦੇ ਪ੍ਰਾਈਸਿਸ ਵੀ ਬਹੁਤ ਰੀਜ਼ਨੇਬਲ ਹੈਗੀਆਂ ਆ ਅਤੇ ਨਾਲ ਦੀ ਜਿਹੜੀਆਂ ਇਨਮੈਨਿਟੀਜ਼ ਦੱਸੀਆਂ ਆ they are off the hook. So you definitely want to be getting your foot in the door and making an appointment. So March 20 ਤੋਂ ਲੈ ਕੇ April 4 ਤੱਕ open houses available ਹੈਗੇ ਆ। ਸੋ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਸੰਦੀਪ ਨਾਲ ਸੰਪਰਕ ਕਰ ਸਕਦੇ ਆ। ਮੰਡੇ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਵਾਸਤੇ ਇੱਕ ਨਵਾਂ ਸ਼ੋਅ ਲੈ ਕੇ ਅਸੀਂ ਹਾਜ਼ਰ ਹੋਵਾਂਗੇ। ਮੰਡੇ ਤਾਈਂ ਤੁਹਾਡੀ ਆਪਣੀ ਸੁੱਖੀ ਵੱਲੋਂ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਸਾਰਿਆਂ ਨੂੰ ਪਿਆਰ ਭਰੀ ਸਤਿਕਾਰ ਭਰੀ ਸਤਿ ਸ਼੍ਰੀ ਅਕਾਲ।
ਸਾਡਾ ਹਰ ਇੱਕ ਪ੍ਰੋਗਰਾਮ ਵੇਖਣ ਤੇ ਸਾਡੇ ਨਾਲ ਜੁੜਨ ਲਈ ਸਬਸਕ੍ਰਾਈਬ ਕਰੋ ਚੈਨਲ ਪੰਜਾਬੀ ਤੇ ਨੋਟੀਫਿਕੇਸ਼ਨ ਲਈ ਬੈਲ ਆਈਕਨ ਵਾਲੇ ਬਟਨ ਤੇ ਕਲਿੱਕ ਕਰੋ।